Welcome to Energy Stew. This is Peter Roth, your host. And I'd like to ask you, are you an empath? What does that mean? Maybe we're all empaths. It's at different levels. And maybe there's some levels that aren't as comfortable as others. So to help us learn about being an empath, as we all are, we have to be. But let's talk about how to get the best out of it. And to do that is a guest who's returning to Energy Stew, who's an empath, uh, a wonderful empath teacher, and her teaching is called Empath Evolution. Michelle Howe, welcome back to Energy Stew.
Thank you. So nice to be here, Peter. Thank you.
Well, this is such an important topic because we all expect things of each other and often are disappointed. And often we're disappointed because people aren't speaking the same language we speak. And we wonder, wait a minute. If I'm sensitive to this thing that I'm sensing right now, why don't you get it? Why aren't you feeling it the way I do? Why don't you
Yeah.
understand it the way I do?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? And then some people might say, I understand it too much. I'm running away from it. So, uh, how do we hold ourselves? How do we understand ourselves better?
Well, it's a multidimensional answer to that multifaceted here rendition of the world. And why is it that some of us feel so strongly one way and others of us feel so strongly another way? And what is the truth in the middle of it all? And like this human um storyline, what I believe is the truth, what you believe is the truth, what I would go to bat for, so it's like the truth is always somewhere in the middle. It's never like black and white the way we like to paint it, especially when we're assessing situations, we come from our own reference points, meaning that we each have, okay, I'm going to say this big energy body. We are all like this multidimensional person, right? We are activated in certain ways. We're intelligent in certain ways. We're not as interested in other things. We're experts at certain things. We're novices at other things, right? So when we look at the world, we're even when we look at other people, everyone is very unique. Like that snowflake, right? They say there's no two snowflakes that are the same. There's no two.
So we can never be in anybody else's shoes.
We can, as an empath, I can tell you I can feel someone's reality, someone's priority, someone's urgency, someone's anxiety, someone's will. Like I can feel what makes them up, but it's a mix of a lot of different things, because we are like when I embody Michelle, right? When I channel a higher version of Michelle, I can I can feel that viscerally. That's higher version of me. And then
What
they
does that
make
mean, a higher version of you?
meaning that it comes out really smooth and clear and calm. The vibration isn't just the words that I have, it's the exchange of the energy is what I'm embodying in this moment and what people are hearing from me and what I'm feeling moving through my body. Because, you said empath, we're all empath. Where are you on this empath journey? How aware are you? What's the quality that's working through you? How developed, how connected are you to your highest being? Where's the human factor and where's the spiritual factor in you when you look out at the world? How attuned are you to a higher version or a lighter version or a more loving version of yourself versus the more human.
I love that. And the word wisdom to me is is very important because we can be very smart and not wise. And I think wisdom is that inner,
Yeah,
more spiritual part that sees deeper and wider also, and um, and can understand things out of even out of context.
right, right. So it's not so much sometimes, oftentimes, what the person says. It's what I feel like people are having like issues. People are upset for their own reasons and they think they're upset for this, or they may show up, this is wrong and this is not right. But when you really sit back and you say, okay, what is actually wrong? It's always way deeper than what they think is the problem with them.
Well, I can think of that in terms of politics right now. And there are all these fears and judgments and upsets having to do with the outcome of elections. And but what is it that's driving people's fears? What is it? What is it that makes people so upset that they can't see beyond the minute and
Yeah,
and try to picture a broader outcome of truth that can come from upset. So in other words, we could think the world is falling
yeah,
apart, and yet that might be for a very good reason.
yeah.
And yet we can be, there's so much upset that is in the moment that isn't clear. And what drives that? And what aspect of empathy is that picturing?
Okay. So there's a couple things there to pick apart is the fact that we are in an emotional world. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of passion. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of, I want to make this difference. I want to make that difference. I know this. I see this. You see that. Interestingly enough, with more than one of my good friends, which on a spiritual level, we're very connected, we look at the world completely different. We looked at this political election completely different. And we had the wherewithal. She goes, Michelle, I can't have this conversation with most people, but I'm having it with you. She goes, and neither one of us is ready to climb outside the window and throw themselves out of the window. Like we're able to have this conversation. He goes, but that's not the norm. She goes, I can't have this conversation with my spiritual friends because immediately there's angst, there's anxiety, there's anger. It's all erupting from them. And so I have to stay away from that conversation.
Right,
And I'm like,
but where are we at spiritually if we're so caught in fear?
where we're at is this, that we're not, there's an energetic, we are amplifying darkness when we villainize one side or the other. And then we're holding that darkness and we're holding, and then there's that fear. And then the more we're together with other people, and it becomes bigger and it becomes bigger. And then all of a sudden, there is no frame of reference that is calm.
Yes, and so coming back to the whole idea of being an empath, and you know, how do we manage all of these variabilities in life? Uh, what
Um,
is it? What is it that can create a foundation or a structure that we can fall back onto that
Yeah.
we don't go into such a tizzy.
Foundationally, every empath I know needs to be really, really cognizant of the polarity of good and bad, good and bad, good and bad. And then they're attaching to this, they're falling prey to the human condition and the human opinion and the I'm right and this is wrong. Like they're dancing or they're having fun with or they're playing in a playground that's divisive. And
Right,
you can get lost in that unless you can step back, observe. Step back, observe. Don't be right on the front line. Like you become part of it. You lose your sovereignty to that right there instead of I am who I am. I see this. This is a play out of a drama. This is a movie I'm watching, right? And in this movie, I can see truth on both sides, and I can see it more clearly from a distance. If I'm in it, I'm in it. I don't have any more perspective over any of it. It's doomsday, it's live or die. It's you become part of the movie. Like, that's
right.
it.
And yet the bigger picture is that change is good because it leads to greater revelations. And revelations can really create more wisdom. And why don't we want that? And so when we're caught in the moment of disappointment,
Yeah.
it's it's the minutia, that we're being caught into because overall, maybe what's wrong is the only way to lead to what's right.
So in any given situation, you said change is good. Okay. Well, good, bad, change is inevitable. Change is a given. We're always confronted with the next thing that's changing in front of us. How we perceive it, how we live it, how we label it. Um, we are the creators, right? So essentially, we're not going to always perceive a change as good. God only knows. Sorry, God, I bring God into this here, but I don't know that any of us love change unless it's actuated, it's initiated from within ourselves. We want this change. Now it's good, right? When a change is imposed on us or we feel like it's imposed on us,
Then we feel loss of control.
yeah, we are kicking and screaming, how dare you move my cheese? How dare you change what
Right.
this is,
It's all about
right?
control.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Um,
So really the weakness in all of this fear is is the fear of loss of control, that we're unwilling to get into free fall, to find out new truths. And I work with a lot of ultra Orthodox Jews, and I see how limiting they allow their worlds to be, so that they don't have to be exposed to anything new or
yeah,
different, and how tightly they hold on to that. And it's sad when you're living a life where you refuse to accept new. And it's amazing, right now to actually project that onto the rest of the population, to see in politics especially how much we feel like we need to hold on to, and survive that way. It's a survival thing.
yeah.
And it's frightening. Um, but and maybe it's just, I'm somebody who people think has stuck ideas that I'm unmovable because
Is that true? Is that true, Peter? Do you have stuck
I
ideas
think
that are
what it is like, for instance, I would never allow myself to be vaccinated, and
okay?
people didn't understand how unmovable I was. It was like, wait a minute, you're being stupid about it. You need to get vaccinated. And so sometimes I'm just that way because of what I believe I need to hold on to
Yeah,
for my survival of what I believe is truth.
yeah.
So I'm not going to take chances that I think are dangerous. But right now, like we're moving into a new society, no matter who is in charge, we are moving into a time when everything is so fragile, too many wars going on, uh, too much at stake. And it drives people more and more to worry and to hold on to and to try to control as much as they can. So right now, like with the new election, et cetera, so many people feel out of control, and the world is.
I
Go ahead.
this is what I would say to anybody listening. The world's always in flux, always shifting. It's not these things that happened in the last 4 years that we that are not considered and they're not healthy. You want to say wars? They've been in there's always been a mix of potentials out there. It's just that they came to be seen more. There's always been a undercurrent of activity that we're seeing more, and we're shocked by what we see. Where did that come from? How dare that be? Who's to blame for that, right? Can we make it better? Can we make it worse? We can't retroactively go back and change what we've done. We can progressively go forward and maybe learn from some of the things we haven't done or step into things differently to be more with new eyes. But in total, it's about trusting because if we're not one person, we are a conglomerate of people here. And I dare say an intelligent conglomerate of people. So trust in what's happening because when you trust, you're more relaxed, you're more accepting, you're more able to add a positive to the soup of life around.
Right. And I think a lot of it has to do with trust that we don't know enough. That, there's so many aspects to what we face in life that are superficial and we just don't know. Um, by the way, you've frozen on the screen, so I'm hoping you return to the conversation shortly. Um,
Us.
interesting.
Instead,
Okay. Uh, yeah. All right. You're back again.
sorry, went out, came back in.
Yeah.
Um, my point was we don't see 360 degrees. There isn't one of us that can do that.
Right.
We only see what we see. We don't see what we don't see. And there's a lot of things happening. So the more like the more we allow and trust and look at things and delegate and create a team environment to address these things, that's the best we can do.
Yeah. And
Because when I look around, there's things off kilter almost everywhere.
right. And you're speaking to, for instance, to very sensitive empaths who,
Yeah.
in their sensitivity, also have to see that they're being sensitive to only a partial picture.
Well, they're being sensitive to what they perceive is happening, what they're listening to, what they're embracing, what their mind is telling them. Remember, you're not one thing. You have like a slate of beliefs and you have people that are around you. So you're listening to, I would say, consuming
Yes.
certain information more so than others. And it's either gonna help you or it's gonna hurt you.
Right, but I like the perspective that you said that we don't have a full picture.
No.
And and so if we get too upset at what we see, thinking that's the full picture, then we're limiting our opportunity to get grounded and feel
We're crying wolf. We're letting the outside impact the inside. The
right.
job of every empath on this planet is to be sovereign enough to hold the vibration of who they actually are. So they are not swayed. They're not losing themselves and everything. They are holding their vibration pure.
I love that. Yeah, and so being centered, but it has to do with mindfulness that you have to remember to stay centered.
You have to be cognizant that you're surrounded by energies all around you. What is it that you're adding to that mix? Where are you following as opposed to leading?
Right.
Lead with the higher vibration. Become that sovereign, embodied empath who can look at a situation and understand that this is not in their control. There are people that have been born with certain specific projects, certain contracts. We're in an ascension. We're all shifting the energetics, meaning that we are all feeling the darkness within us and around us to such a degree that it's making us uncomfortable. And
As
our
darkness moves through us.
yes,
Right.
it moves through us. We have a history of humanity. Humanity and the way that we think and feel and what the lives we've lived have not been ideal. There's a lot of fear mongering. There's a lot.
Right. Right. And the media is so responsible for distortion.
Well, the media is doing what the media is doing because it's been rewarded for doing that. It hasn't seen it's being penalized at this point for not holding the highest vibration. It's almost gotten polluted and gone along. It's been following
Yeah.
some other agenda as opposed to staying right in the middle where it needs to stay in order to be seen with integrity
Right.
over talking. Yeah.
Right. So we all have to think for ourselves more than ever and know that we could be led down wrong paths um, by propaganda, things that
We
you
we
don't
could
realize.
we could be adding more angst to the system that's already there, as opposed to finding that neutral ground and holding it.
Good.
And the highest vision, the highest, like instead of looking at whoever it might be you're looking at and seeing the darkness in them, remember, we are mirroring things. What are we? We're looking traditionally, most humans are going out there and condemning things that they see. It's all a mirror, all of it.
Right.
And
Yeah. We're
unless
creating our reality.
you're familiar with the mirror effect, right? And you stop blaming and shaming on the outside and you start looking and saying, ooh, the things I see on the outside, what's going on the inside of me? What is this
Right.
saying? What am I part of?
right, that I'm making this happen this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. This is
So
great.
it's a learning. It's really like there's that humbleness in me when I see the situations because I it's just it's hard to wrap your head around the fact that two people could be looking at the same situation and one sees X and the other one sees Y.
Right.
I'm like, how's that possible? Two, technically, you could say two empaths looking at the same situation. One sees this is bad, and the other sees, and I'm like, is this a contract that we have that we only see, or is it a past life repeat that we only see, or we see, why don't you see this? Oh, you see this. Like it's almost smoke and mirrors. And if you look at it and you say, we are all one. So you're demonizing one side or the other. Whereas to me, it's like a flip side of the same coin.
I
To
love
me,
that. Yeah. And we have to
I,
we have to remember this. This is so important just to keep in mind for ourselves to get through distressing moments.
and the distress is palpable. It is palpable. It's just that in those times when you feel that way, you really need to talk your way back out of that to calm yourself down.
Good,
Calm.
good. And then on those words, we're running near the end of the show. So tell people about how to follow up with you.
Sure, sure. Empath Evolution. Empathevolution.com is me. If you'd like to interview me or if you'd like to possibly do some mentorship with me, email me at empathevolution.com.
Yeah, your voice broke up for a second there, but yeah, we get the message. Thank you. I mean,
You're
they can
welcome.
reach you through empathevolution.com and
That's good.
all kinds of opportunities from that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it really is, um, to me, it's about the quality of the experience that we're having. None of us have a perfect experience. Being human is not an easy thing. Managing a physical body is not an easy thing. And a lot of empaths find themselves really, really struggling because energies can get stuck. We can pick up heaviness along the way. There's a lot more that goes into maintaining this vessel than we really appreciate, myself included. Sometimes I'm like, oh my dear Lord. But because I can feel things viscerally, I can't ignore it or avoid it or look the other way. Like some people, it seems like they're made of steel. They don't feel anything. I'm like, oh geez, you know,
That's
is
right.
that a good, well, maybe it is for them, right? But
Um, yeah, but your perspective and wisdom is wonderful to hear. I'm so glad that you're able
thank
to share on Energy Stew.
my pleasure.
Thank you so much. And this is Peter Roth, your host of Energy Stew at prn.live. I can be reached at Peter at Heart River, Heart River.org. I'd love to hear from you, and thanks so much for listening.